Topical issue. Today I'm going to talk about the hawker teacher. A teacher who is a hawker. It's interesting that in many countries, I used to think we only had them here in Kenya, but I have a friend who lived in Britain and he told me there were hawkers there. I don't know in other places. People who move with things, peddle things from one place to another and sell them. They don't have a specific place. They are mobile. Maybe on foot, maybe on motorbikes, maybe on small vehicles moving from here to there, talking to people about the buying of things. It happens in trade, but it equally happens in teaching. You've had those clinical officers, sometimes people in the medical health, who move from place to place telling people about good health practices or disease prevention. They are hawker doctor teachers. But the most interesting thing is they are teachers who are trained, but specifically hawk their teaching. They move from place to place to place to teach. I remember there was a time when Kenya had a program because there was a time we had a large shortage of teachers, and some of us, including me, were to be trained to be hawker teachers. This hawking practice is a practice in Canada, Canada rural areas, is a practice in some American rural areas, and it was an idea that had been brought to us. A teacher who would be able to teach different schools or different places or different classes. So this training called itinerant teachers, mobile teachers, in short, hawker teacher, came about. We were trained on how you would be able to teach from one place to another place, to another place, how to combine several classes if you are teaching a lesson, same content, but at varying levels within the same stream. One lesson for about 3 classes. You only go with one topic, but the lower one is simpler, then a bit complex, and then more complex for the higher learners, all working in one. That is what an itinerant teacher does. Mostly they work in the rural areas, and they organize. On such a day, they'll have a class there. Then people who have moved, maybe the family has moved to another place, they can move along with the family giving lessons. Or when a family moves to that place, they take different days, they'll move to that place, finish for that day, move to another place, or arrangements like that. Those are the ones I'm calling hawker teachers. Hawking in teaching is not a recent thing. It's an ancient thing. It was there before us. I'm going to quote some of the hawker teachers that are known in history. One of the most famous hawker teacher was called Jesus. Jesus was a hawker teacher. He didn't have a specific place. Sometimes he would be in a synagogue. Sometimes he would be by the seaside. Sometimes he was in the wilderness. Sometimes he was in the villages. And under all those circumstances, he will teach. Another hawker teacher was Buddha. Buddha also would teach in several places. We have sages like Sage Granit Sahib and many other people. They taught important things in life. With us, when we were young, because in Africa by then, many of the things that people take for granted now were rare. It was the time of films, movies running on a spool. A few people in towns would go to the movies. But we had itinerant movie teachers. They would move with vehicles, show us movies that were entertaining and some movies that were educational. We have teachers who move from place to place, maybe a lecturer. Lectures in this institution, he moves to another institution and is moving to another institution and is continuously on the move. That's a hawker lecturer. Why am I talking about hawker lecturers? We'll come to another dispensation where you don't have to move. You can sit before a telephone like me and hawk some information. You become a hawker teacher, an itinerant teacher. There are those who move from place to place. Others have things they call road shows. They move with the music and big loudspeakers. And then they teach about certain things. Those are itinerant teachers. In our societies, itinerant teaching should not only stop in the educational field, things like mathematics, English, geography, history. No. Itinerant teaching should go to disease prevention. I remember there was a time when there was a dangerous disease and there were some people who were teaching about how to use certain gadgets for certain purposes for prevention. They would move from place to place. They were itinerant health officers and teachers. In this dispensation, we need information. It's not a must that you be trained as an itinerant teacher or as a teacher like we have been trained. Because if you know something and I don't know that thing, and you make me learn about that thing, then you are my teacher. So anybody can be a teacher. Anybody. You are taught by your mom to walk, to eat. She taught you. Your mom, a teacher. Taught ethics by your parents and those surrounding you, and sometimes in school. Teaching. Teaching runs across the board. So, in the modern time, we should take some time also to listen to what people teach in the media. People teach out there because there's certain information that may be important to us that we ignore. So I'm talking about social life. I'm talking about political life. I'm talking about religious life. I'm talking about conflict resolution. These are things that we are taught by people who move around or by itinerant teachers before a camera like now or before a television set. or in the fields, people who move around teaching. It's very important that you listen to different topics in different things. We've got people who speak, people who give poems, people who do teachings like I'm doing now, hawking this teaching to anybody, anywhere. Because once I do this, it will move to different places. Feel free to share with other people. And let me just add some few things. When we were in college, the very first training for teachers, we had a book for Christian religious education that had the title, "No One Taught Like This Teacher," and that was Jesus Christ. I'm also going to tell you some things that you didn't know about some of these teachers. Some of them had proverbs, yes, and sayings. Blessed are those, and things like that. That's what I call genge, that's what I call rap. They rapped those days. They gave things that people would not be able to decipher. Yet they moved from place to place. The modern day teacher, others call themselves preachers, just teachers. A modern day teacher should be able to incorporate all those. And when we incorporate those, sometimes we appear mad. Because you'll be told of things that you can't understand at that particular moment. There are times when the teachers give that information that way for you to decipher. Or sometimes they get that idea in that form. So as you decipher, they decipher. Listen to the media. Listen to the itinerant teachers that speak over the phone, that move around the places, teaching you different things, because the only way we can have a better life is to eat the fruit, eat the knowledge. There is an upsurge of itinerant teachers on the phone and elsewhere. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So as we give you the fruit, eat the fruit. And if you also have a fruit that we have not eaten, of whatever variety, that means knowledge in any subject, in any area of study that we don't understand, give it to us. Let's have different fruits. Yes, let's have the hawkers selling this information for the benefit of mankind. Let's hawk this education where we can. Even the teachers who are stationed in certain places, if you get time, sometimes become a hawker. Yeah, an itinerant teacher to people around you. I'm proud to be among the hawkers of teaching, having been in a regular institution where I was teaching in one place. Now I can be able to hawk across the phone. Please listen to me as I hawk the wares and as I give the parables in genge or in hip hop or sometimes in dancehall or in reggae or just normal rap. Receive the fruits, eat the fruits. Whenever an opportunity comes and I get fruits that are different, like I'm doing now and I've been doing continuously, I'll share what I have with you. You have anything? Don't leave it inside you. It's not useful to you when you have it alone. Share it with others. Be a hawker teacher. Be an itinerant teacher. Follow the example of Jesus or Buddha or Saint Granit Sahib or those others that you know, because most of them are famous because they were hawker teachers and they changed the world. Anybody can be a hawker teacher. Welcome to the hawking of knowledge. Be a hawker teacher. Be an itinerant teacher. That's my take for now.